Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, all my brothers and sisters. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to benefit us by that which He has taught us and to teach us that which will benefit us. So the people of knowledge have differed regarding a person who has prayed Salatul Eid on a Friday. Does he still have to pray Salatul Jumu'ah? We're going to very briefly look at this issue or have an overview of this issue, inshallah ta'ala. So the first opinion is that yes, a person who prays Salatul Eid must still pray Salatul Jumu'ah. And this is the opinion of the majority of the scholars and the fuqaha from the Hanafiya and the Malikiyya and the Shafi'iyya, and Ibn al-Munzir, Ibn Hazm and Ibn Abdul Barr. And they have many proofs for this. The first of which is the ayah in Surah Al-Jum'ah where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم إذا نودي للصلاة من يوم الجمعة فاسعوا إلى ذكر الله. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says what is translated to mean, if you are called to prayer on the day of Jumu'ah, then rush towards the remembrance of Allah. And so the ulama who hold this opinion, they say that this ayah did not specify Yawm al-Jumu'ah. It does not specify Yawm al-Eid. It does not specify the day of Eid. It does not make an exception for the day of Eid. And so you must still pray Salatul Jumu'ah even if it's on a Friday, even if Eid is on a Friday. The second proof, or another proof that they use, is a statement of Uthman radiallahu anhu when he was the Khalifa. When Eid happened to be on the day of Friday, so he prayed Salatul Eid, and in his khutbah he said, "O people, today two Eids have joined together in one day, or today two Eids have come together. So whosoever from the people of Al-Awali want to wait for the Jumu'ah prayer, then they can do so, and whosoever want to go home, then they have permission to do so." Now the people of Awali was a village in Medina, and it is currently part of the city of Medina today. So the ulama who hold this view, they say that Uthman radiallahu anhu, he specifically mentioned the people of Al-Awali. Why? Because in Al-Awali, in their village, they didn't have Jumu'ah. Whether it was because they didn't have enough people or whatever the reason was, Allahu A'lam. But the ulama who use this proof, they say is because the people of Awali did not have Jumu'ah. Another proof that some of these scholars use is that Jumu'ah is a fard and Eid is not fard. It is a voluntary action. It's not an obligation. And so the voluntary action does not take away the obligation of an obligatory action. So you would still have to pray Jumu'ah. And another proof, or a fourth proof that some of these ulama use that hold this opinion, is that both Salat al-Eid and Salat al-Jumu'ah are obligatory. They are both obligatory, and one obligation does not take away the obligation of another. For example, on the day of Eid, you would still pray Salat al-Dhuhr. And they have other proofs as well that we won't really get into right now. And we'll just look at the second opinion now. So the second opinion is that for the person who has prayed Salatul Eid, he no longer has to pray Salatul Jumu'ah. It's not obligatory upon him anymore. And this is the view of the Hanabila and a group of the Salaf, and the chosen opinion of Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah and Shaykh bin Baz and Ibn Uthaymeen rahmatullah alayhim jami'an. But even though he doesn't have to pray Salatul Jumu'ah, the Imam still has to establish the Jumu'ah for whosoever wants to come and pray. And their proof that they use, or one of their proofs, is a conversation or an athar, or what is reported from Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan when he asked Zayd ibn al-Arqam radiyallahu anhum ajma'in if they had ever had a day in which the day of Eid fell on a Friday. And so he said yes. So when he asked him, what did you do? Zayd ibn Arqam radiallahu anhu replied that the Prophet ﷺ prayed the Eid prayer, and then he gave permission to whoever wanted to go and not pray the Jumu'ah to do so. He said, Man sha'a an yusalliya falyusall. Whosoever wants to pray it, then let them pray it. They can pray it, meaning the Jumu'ah. The second proof that these scholars use is that the difference between Salat al-Jumu'ah and the Dhuhr prayer is only the khutbah. And a person who prayed Salat al-Eid would have gotten the khutbah from the Salat al-Eid, the khutbah that's after Salat al-Eid. And so he doesn't have to pray Jumu'ah anymore, he already got the khutbah. But he would still have to pray Dhuhr in that case. And the third proof, or a third proof that these scholars use, is that the time of Jumu'ah, or some of these scholars use that the time of Jumu'ah and the time of the Salat al-Eid is the same. And this is in for the Hanabila. The time of Jumu'ah and the time of Eid, or the Eid Salah, is the same. So one of them would take the place of the other. The same way that Salat al-Jumu'ah takes the place of Salat al-Dhuhr. This is just a very, very, very brief overview of the different opinions that the ulama have concerning this issue and their proofs and evidences. And so we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide us and to benefit us by that which He has taught us, and to teach us that which will benefit us. Inshallah, until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.